In a country like India, where cricket is no less than a religion, women cricketers always have to fight harder to make room for themselves. Joining me today is former Indian skipper and current cricket commentator, someone who emerged out and became the face of women's cricket in India. Hi, I'm Tanya Malik. This is HZ Women of the Month, and joining us today is Anjum Chopra. Ma'am, you carved out a niche in a male dominated sport and emerged out as a big name. And I just wanted to request you to take us a little back to the time when it all started, when a 17-year-old Anjum Chopra made her debut with One Day Internationals. How did it all feel like? And did you always wanted to become a cricketer?
I wanted to become a sports person, yes. Cricketer, yes, because by the time I took to the sport or started playing the sport in my backyard with my uncle and my brother, it was already, cricket was already the flavor of the country because we had won the 1983 World Cup. Mr. Kapil Dev and his team had already won that. So it was very fresh, and I was just like a very, very young kid in kindergarten, probably. And I thought since everybody used to play cricket, I also started playing cricket. So to say that I've always wanted to play cricket, I think so. And to say that I've always wanted to be a sports person, yes. I think the journey just continued because I was introduced to the game by my parents, and then it just flowed. The idea was always to excel in whatever I'm doing and becoming a better player each day. And it was just that, and the journey just continued from there.
Do you recall the first time you were on the field playing? How did it feel like?
First time when I was on the field, I think it was in Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium. I was a 9-year-old giving trials for the Delhi under-15 team. And it felt a lot different because suddenly I was in a little more professional surrounding where I was being judged. I felt confident because I knew how to catch a ball, how to hold a cricket bat, how to take a stance. So I wouldn't say that the others didn't, but as I said, that competitive nature was always there to excel amongst the pack. And I remember that the coach really identified with me, and he said that she should play cricket and take it up as a sport. And from there, rest is history.
When you see women cricket in India through the lens of a cricket commentator today, what are the biggest changes do you see in the game?
Following is the biggest, awareness, and the acceptability, the relatability, and the identity. These are the three big factors which I see has changed. In fact, I won't say that when I was playing none of these were existent. I'll say people still had an identity. All of us still were recognized and respected as cricketers. But what I always feel looking at the present scenario is how it was for my seniors and for the people who played for decades before me, before even I took to the sport. At least by the time I took the sport, there was a television following women's cricket matches. There was a internet company which was sponsoring the Women's World Cup. But the couple of generations or even more than prior to us before taking up to the sport. So it's been a long journey for the women's game, and I think everyone has to travel that journey. Nobody just identifies with the sport or with its following or the challenges or the achievements in a quick fix manner. I think every sport goes through that. But what I see today is all those three factors that I mentioned, in stark contrast to what it was when I took to the sport.
Today, ma'am, like you said, the popularity has increased, and a lot of women cricketers have also managed to prove their mettle in the game. However, we still hear instances where women cricketers have lack of facilities. There is lack of resources. What do you think contributes to that? Today.
Today, there aren't lack of facilities or lack of infrastructure offered to women cricketers. I'll be surprised if someone comes up to me and says that there is a shortage. And if there is a shortage for a female cricketer, it will be a shortage for a male cricketer also. That just might be regional, might be local. But in totality, when we look at it, the game is covered under the BCCI, and BCCI has a very good infrastructure right through the country. The speed at which the sport is increasing, I can safely say that the infrastructure is there to nicely cover up the growth of the number of kids or the younger generation taking to the sport. So I don't think should be a statement which should be a common statement in today's time for a female cricketer. And as I say, if it's a shortage for a female cricketer, it will be a shortage for a male cricketer also.
Can we talk about gender equality here? Gender equality is no more a buzzword, and it is something which is absolute necessity today. Like as audiences, we often see that there is some kind of imbalance when it comes to women's cricket. Do you think there is something that leads to it, or what could be a quick fix for that, as someone who has been a part of the team?
See, gender equality, inequality, these are very broad words and terms, and I'm not saying that these should not be discussed or not be identified or addressed. But if you want to club everything together and look at it in a positive light, we can do it. If you want to look at it in a negative light, we can do it. I will stick to the discussion that we are having, that is cricket. I will not say that there is inequality. I will, from where I'm saying, and I think our very first question, what we spoke about is what has been the difference. From there, if I straight away jump to this point as to what is the difference in today's time, I think there is everything to play for. There is nothing that I would say that there is inequality about. I will probably replicate the word or substitute the word inequality to opportunity. So the opportunity is there far more, and it's in front of everyone. It's not that it's hidden and it's only offered to a certain segment or a gentry. No, the opportunity is there for everyone. For a under 15 player, for a under 19, or for a senior cricketer, the opportunity is there. So if you are a good cricketer, I think the kind of support that the women's game has started receiving now, I see it as just as an opportunity. I wouldn't say that it's an inequality. The opportunity allows you to become better and gain more accolades, earn more rewards. With rewards comes recognition, and the wheel just keeps flowing. It's only going to get better and better. As I said, that the generations before me who played women's cricket, ask them, they will say how fortunate the present generation is. And this present generation, in a decade down the line, will talk about how fortunate the next generation can be from here on. But it depends on what the present is doing. If the seniors hadn't played and stuck to the sport, I might not have taken to the sport. If me and my contemporaries hadn't continued playing, this present generation wouldn't have been there where they are. So it just flows and follows. So I will not look at inequality. Yes, there are gaps, but at least those gaps are identified and you know how to fill those gaps.
Pay parity was always a big challenge for women cricketers, but BCCI's landmark decision of equal pay to women cricketers has, made everyone believe that, things will now be far better for women now looking forward to venture into cricket. Do you think this will bring in more?
Look, I think I'll just see this pay parity thing as an individual, decision and a move. And I think, all of us welcomed that move. It happened on the day India men were playing Pakistan in a World Cup game when this announcement came through, or it was the following game, but it was during that World Cup period, T20. And all of us I was covering that game, and, we immediately shifted our focus to this announcement from the BCCI. Look at it again from where we've come as a game to where we are. And I again talk about the word called opportunities that are there in front of us, which are identified again. So it's a nice distance or a nice path that we've covered. It's really up to the It's really up to the people who are playing the sport and stakeholders to what they make of it from here on. So it's obviously a very nice decision. Who doesn't like good remuneration? I think all of us like it, and it doesn't really matter what field you're in. Everybody likes to be paid handsomely.
Ma'am, if we compare women's cricket and men's cricket, there is always this thing, as in terms of the victories and the popularity, that even after big victories, we see minimal support for women's cricket as compared to men's cricket. What do you think contributes to that, and what is the silver lining you think here?
The silver lining definitely is the fact that when you win, you get coverage, you get followed. Look at the kind of brands that are endorsed by women cricketers today. It might not be all 11 or 15 endorsing the brands, but even if there are 2, 3, or 4 of these players who are endorsing the brands, it's irrespective of what the Indian team has done collectively. It's just individual brilliance which is added on, and individual brilliance in a team effort which has provided that. Obviously, the BCCI's backing has provided that pedestal. Whether it has come late or not, that is not the point. Point is what it is today. To say that following, as I said, the following is getting better. Men's cricket is a very evolved sport, has a very evolved audience as well. So to compare where men's cricket is today and to compare where women's cricket is, I think it will be a little unfair. But if we really have to compare, then we need to compare the generations. I feel women's cricket is still far behind if we compare from 1983 to 1993 or maybe 2000 era for men's cricket, and you compare the women's cricket over the past 10 years or 15 years to where it is, I'll still say we still haven't won a World Cup. We still are not world beaters consistently. And we're not playing that much of cricket. So there are a lot of other factors as well. And it doesn't happen overnight. It's not that we are a bad team. Like India is not a bad team. It's just that we've not won a World Cup title, which the men cricketers had. And then there was a complete change.
Yeah.
So things are changing. Things will take time to change. It will still not happen overnight. But at least that following which men cricketers enjoy now after having greater success than the women's game, vis-a-vis, I'll still say that it's not bad. It's still good.
Ma'am, as a former skipper, how do you think India can revolutionize women's cricket?
Revolution, probably we've passed that stage now where we could have caused a revolution. The only revolution what we can hope for is probably, if it can be used in that manner, is by winning a World Cup, and we're seeing a complete shift of following for the women's game. Let's not even say that it has to compare itself to men's cricket. I will just say let's compete between women's sports and women team sports. First, let's compete within the country, and then let's compete with women's sports team events globally. So where does it rank in the order of following there? So that might be a big revolution, but I guess the kind of following, the kind of social media, the kind of media, and the kind of awareness it spreads within seconds, the moment you achieve something, it will bring about that kind of a nice little wave. I would say that once the women's team wins a world championship.
Ma'am, what message or piece of advice would you like to share with young women, young girls venturing into cricket?
Just play the game. If you like the sport, play the game. If you don't like the sport, go out and try playing the game. You might like it.
Ma'am, lastly, you have won multiple accolades from Padma Shri to the Arjuna Award for your exemplary contribution to the game. What are your goals going forward?
To earn more laurels, to become better broadcaster, to become better at each and every field that I am into and I want to venture into. So the idea is to keep moving and keep improving my skills and keep getting rewarded.